Hello everyone, Martin Nebelong here with another Dreams video, and this is a Dreams video that I've been looking forward to making for such a long time. So yesterday Dreams VR finally released, and oh my god, how I have been looking forward to being able to talk to you guys about this. So as some of you might know, I do freelance work for Media Molecule, and through that work I've had access to Dreams VR for quite some time. But this has been on the internal developer server of Media Molecule, and finally being able to see all of my own creations and your guys' creations in VR is amazing, to say the least. So right now I'm looking at regular Dreams, but as soon as I take on the VR headset, which is what I'm doing now, we will be switched into VR mode. So you'll find yourself in your home space, but now in VR. And this is a very cool experience to be able to see Dreams like this. But once everything is in order, you can then jump in to the various sections here of Dreams. And if it's your first time using Dreams VR, you will actually not see any VR content yet. You will have to go and finish the onboarding experience that Media Molecule has made for VR. But once you are through that, you are then free to hop directly into Dreams Surfing, where you will find all manners of great content that works in VR. And it's basically just crazy good, really. I'm just gonna jump in here to show you just very briefly short glimpses of what Dreams VR can look like. So let's take a look at Tiny Quest, for instance. It's a really great small game that worked really well in the 2D version of Dreams. But let's take a look at what it looks like in VR. So we're just gonna reset the progress here, yes, and then let's jump into the game. So I'm gonna take my DualShock controller and I will jump into Tiny Quest. Let's log in, and here we go. The game has begun. And it's basically the same experience, but now in VR, and you can see you can move closer or further away from the playing board. And then, yeah, you can see where actually the experience is placed on a table. Really cool, and you can move closer and look at everything. So cool. This is a very nice, small, self-contained game here, drawing on some of the classic platforming games. So it's basically just pick up the crystals, pick up the power-ups, and then as you pick up the power-ups, you are able to progress further in the game. And it works really well in VR, I'm happy to say. This one, Tin Toy Rally, I actually haven't played this one. It's by Matt Nee. I've seen some previews of this online and it looks really good, so let's check it out. Alright, so we are obviously in a kid's room of some sort. Alright, let's try free driving. Let's see what this is like. I'm already kind of expecting a hardcore VR experience, so definitely not for people who are prone to getting seasick from VR. Because every game where you are actually moving around like this usually makes people sick if they are not very used to working in VR. So before I started working a lot in Dreams, I actually had a few years where I did almost all of my work in an Oculus Rift headset, and that has made me less prone to getting motion sick from VR. So it's definitely something you can train. So if you feel like you are, just from watching an experience like this, if you feel like you have to puke, then you probably should not start with an experience like this, but instead go for some of the more softcore VR experiences. But look at this, this is so cool. It adds so much to the experience actually being in the car like this. It's really, really awesome. And one thing I'm personally really looking forward to is for John Beach to release his train game. Most of you have probably seen this in the Media Molecule streams. It looks utterly amazing, really. This is fantastic. This is fantastic. Being able to be in the game like this is really, really cool. This one, I remember seeing this on a Media Molecule stream a while back in the 2D version, and I tried it briefly yesterday in VR, and I think it works really, really well too. It's a puzzle game, so I probably won't go too far into it. I just want to briefly show you guys the kind of immersion that is possible in VR. So I can look around like this. I find myself in this strange hospital-like environment. It's a little bit creepy, to be honest, but let's see what happens as I move around. Alright, let's don the mask, and we are then allowed to progress further in the game. And this is pretty cool. A reflection over here. And the thing about reflections is in Dreams is that it's not really reflections, it's actually just a copy of the object being mirrored and then thrown on the other side of a see-through surface like this. But it's really immersive, guys. I can definitely imagine some horror game taking place in an environment like this. And one thing that's really big in Dreams VR as well is that the game supports ambiosonic or ambisonic sound, which basically means that sound can be positioned all the way around you. And this actually works on stereo headphones, which you would think you would require like a surround sound system or something, but basically it just mimics what you would hear in your inner ears, I guess. But anyways, I'm not gonna go through all of these puzzles. I just wanted to briefly show you this game, so let's jump out again. Alright, so here I've jumped into another Dreams classic, Great Job Human, which is a very, very polished and nice platforming game, which is now working in VR too, and it works really well, I think. Let's take a look. This is really well animated too. There's such a lot of character in this. Look, when I'm pressing the character, he moves around. He even points, you know, with one hand to indicate that you should high-five the character to begin the game. And apart from that, it's a very standard platforming game, but now in VR and in a very polished version. So here you actually see what happens if you have borders on your camera, black borders like this. You get this kind of movie theater view, which is pretty great for cinematics and such. But here we go. This cute little guy just has to move around in the scene. Go from A to B. Again, VR just gives you the option of easily moving around like this, looking at the environment and everything. And I would say this, again, this experience is probably not for the most sensitive VR users. So if you are prone to nausea or anything in VR, you might have difficulty with moving the camera quickly around and such. But it's definitely not the most hardcore experience. Again, a good example of what Dreams can do with the right talented creators. Ah! Oh my god! Oh no! No! Ah! Final transmission. Take care of yourself, human. I love those. Alright, let's jump out of this one. It's just gonna be a short preview of all the awesome things you can do in Dreams VR, and then at a later point we will definitely have more in-depth looks at what's possible here. Something strange in 22.6. Wonder what that is. City map preview. Let's take a look at this one. I think I've seen this online and it looks amazing. Let's see what it actually looks like in the headset. Oh my god. Take a look at this. Beautiful. Let's move down here. See if we can get to street level, maybe. Oops, there we go. Ah, look at the spaceships moving by. And you know, if you're watching this and thinking, oh, this is no big deal, this is just a silly game, then you probably don't know what you're talking about. I think I can be bold enough to say that. This is groundbreaking, folks, that regular people like you and me can go into Dreams and start creating content directly in VR for VR is so amazing, really. Look at this. This was probably just made by one guy, just building in VR on a flat screen or on his VR headset. Then being able to make something like this is so good, so good. Yeah. What is this? Glove of some sort, I guess. Ah, nice. Take a look at this VR robot sculptures.
3, 2, 1.
This is really cool, guys. Listen to the music and everything. You are also able to make music, animation, effects and everything in Dreams. It's so cool. Nice. By Detrickless. This is definitely an easy experience for everyone to watch. There's no camera movement, which is basically what makes you sick in VR. Off-road VR demo. Definitely think I need to check this one out as well. Oh, what's something floating in the air in front of me? But seriously, look at this. It's just like every kid's dream coming true at once in one small, neat package of dreams. This is fantastic. Look at this. Hello. Ah, no collision, okay. Oh my god, I have turbo mode. Oh man. Oh my god, what the? Oh man. This is fantastic, amazing. Alright, let's take a look at the official VR experience from Media Molecule Dreams VR inside the box. It's a showcase for Dreams VR with examples and inspirations to kickstart the community creations. So let's take a look at this one. And I actually did see this one prior to the launch of Dreams, and it's really, really good, guys. Especially one thing that I enjoy about this experience is an art gallery experience that they have in here. There. Here we go. What's happening? There we go. Breakfast is served. And if this doesn't make you hungry or maybe nauseous, I don't know what will. This piece is amazing, really. John did a stream talking about some of the details that he put into this, and he has a meticulous attention to detail which just makes his stuff look so realistic. Like, look at those small beans in the tomato sauce with fake subsurface scattering of the beans and everything. So good. Like all the details of the small peppercorns, and yeah, amazing. And you can change lighting in here. Look at the flex moving. Really, really good. Okay, let's move on. Bye, breakfasts. And moving on to the next gallery room, we have this one that I really enjoy as well, Tiny Lives. It's a different style from what I usually make myself in Dreams, but it's this very, very nice like children's book illustrative type of scene. So you can turn it around here and look at it, the trees moving as you turn the scene around. The painterly quality of the 3D, everything here is just something that would be so difficult to make in any other tool than Dreams. This is fantastic, guys. I actually have difficulty saying just how amazing this is. Let's see. By Emma B. Pablo Ellis and Lisa D. And a really cool thing here is you can actually jump in and you can take a closer look at the Tiny Lives. Here, take a look at this. So good. Look at that guy. Guys, this is fantastic. Such personality and style in this. Alright, let's leave the scene and move on to the next room. And this is definitely my favorite Dreams creation so far. Again by Johnny B. Good old John Beach. Again, let's take a look here. Take a look at the attention to detail here, like all the small scratch marks, the dirt, the grime. Everything here looks thought out, and you can actually then place your hand on the surface, and as your hand touches something here, you feel again the slight rumbling of your controller. But look at this, guys, so good. Alright, let's see what it can do. Gestures. Now we've turned it on. Look at the lighting on the walls and the floor. Look at the movement, the joints moving realistically. This is so good. Oh, look at that. Let's take a look all the way around here. Whoa. You really just you just want to jump into that cockpit and then just run around in this giant mech here. So good. Look at it. Look at it. yeah, of course, it dances, makes us dance too. Guys, this is only possible in dreams. Dancing with a giant robot. So good, so good. Amazing work by John Beach. So this piece really inspired me and impressed me, and it shows some of the best qualities of dreams to me. The combination of sculpting and the painterly flex. And this raven, I think, is from Artstream, I think, by Dan and Tom. Let's see. Take a look at that. I love this one so much. So it transforms from this very painterly raven to a more solid metallic raven here. And look at the reflections. Look at everything here. So beautiful. And even the music as well really adds to the experience. You have to remember, looking at this, that all of what you're seeing in this gallery was actually made with exactly the same tools that are now available to all of us. And if you don't think that is utterly amazing, I'm actually having a difficult time imagining what would amaze you. It's really groundbreaking, to be honest. But anyways, I'm sure a lot of other YouTubers will be covering all aspects of the onboarding experience and the Media Molecule content. So let's jump out of this one and let's jump straight into dreams shaping. And in here you have all your own work, of course, and you have the abilities to start a new scene or a new sculpt. I'm going to start out here by just showing you very quickly some of my own scenes in VR, and we can start out with the content that I've modified a little bit to work well in VR. And the first one is the Unreal Engine 5 tribute that I made in Dreams, and let's just jump in, reset the process, and let's start the experience. So this one is definitely not for the faint of heart in terms of motion sickness and everything, because I have pre-recorded camera moves here, which is one of the things that can make people seasick from watching VR. And you know, looking at this scene, it's quite obvious that there's some heavy optimization going on in VR, obviously, to make this run well on an aging console generation now. But it's really smartly done, so you don't really notice it that much when you're in VR. But especially here on the sculptures, it's you can see if I jump into edit mode. And you look at the sculptures, you see here the level of detail kicking in. So as I move closer, you can tell that detail is increased. But it's working so smoothly, and it just works really well. But look at this, I'm able to jump straight into creation mode. Everything just runs very smoothly, even for a detailed scene such as this one, and it's just so good, so good. Look at the lighting, everything running in real time, and I can even go into this character here, jump straight into creation mode. I can pick a tool and I can then start sculpting on top of the existing creation here. Okay, and you can actually see the level of detail on the character increases as I hide everything around it. So it's very smartly done. You can see the quality is greatly increased now compared to if I enable everything. Not so obvious close-up, but at least on a distance. And then one of the new things in Dreams VR is when you pick something up, you have the option of reeling it towards you or away from you using the X button on your secondary hand. This makes it very easy to get things to come closer to you. Otherwise you would have to kind of drag it like this back and forth, which can be a little bit time consuming, especially if you want to move stuff very far away. And then another thing is that you can now rotate your model by holding the triangle on your offhand, and then you just move the controller to kind of tumble the model. Otherwise you would have to, with one hand, just going in and dragging like this. But you know, all in all, an amazing experience, and we can just jump back into play mode here and watch the next section of the scene. So this is the city sequence, and basically the only thing I did to make this viewable in VR was I went into the scenes and I removed the black bars on the cameras, and that was basically it. Then everything just runs in VR, and it really couldn't get any easier than that. But it's so good to be able to see all of this in VR now. It's really amazing. And then we're actually being thrown into the scene here, and we are able to move freely around by just pinching, zooming and dragging ourselves around in the scene. And of course, because it's my creation, I can jump straight into edit mode here and move stuff around. Alright, let's take a look at another creation of mine. Let's take a look up on the In Space, which is actually one of my old Dreams scenes from the early access period of Dreams. And let's take a look at this one, reset process or progress, and play. And it's really amazing how high quality the image looks here on the PSVR headset. I can only start to imagine what PSVR 2 might look like in Dreams. It's gonna be so good. And the positional audio works really well as well. Yeah, you definitely need to buy a PSVR headset if you don't have one already. It's an amazing experience, really. Being able to work like this is fantastic. Look at it, I can just go straight into my scene. I can move things around so easily. It's fantastic, and I could even, I could go in here and start sculpting straight away, like a character moving towards us here. Some sort of weird alien thing. And again, it's pretty amazing to be able to jump straight into the view live like this, and then sculpting. It's an amazing immersive experience, really. And then of course everything that you do here can be combined with flex, painting, brush strokes, So I could go in, I could select my brush tool, and I could then start drawing in ideas here for, say we wanted this to be like a space marine or something, you could start sketching in ideas for a helmet here. Some sort of armor maybe. And something like this would be impossible to do without VR, because trying to place brush strokes on a 2D screen in a 3D space is really not easy. Trust me, I've tried on many occasions. See, I'm able to very easily make brush strokes that goes all the way around the character, like this. Take a look at this awesomeness here. Pretty awesome. This is an amazing way to work, really. Look at how quickly I can test out ideas here. And then once you're happy with the design here, you could go in and you could start actually sculpting the elements. You can actually start adding details to the character here. This is by far the most immersive way to create artwork I've ever experienced. It's really good. Again, you know, this is coming from somebody who used to work in VR on a daily basis. I even, you know, traveled to Russia to perform on a big stadium drawing in Quill. And I still love these programs. I still love Quill, Masterpiece VR, and Medium. But this is just a completely different experience of free creativity in a way, where all the old school 3D programs and the VR sculpting tools out there all rely still on a polygon-based workflow, and I really hate polygons. I don't have anything positive to say about those guys, except for the fact that they have been a means to an end in terms of allowing us to enjoy 3D content earlier on. But other than that, polygons are terrible. They are hard to optimize. You need to UV unwrap them. You need to do all sorts of things to work around their limitations. And in Dreams here you can focus mostly on just creating stuff. Of course you still have to think about the thermometer not going crazy, but that's a small price to pay for the amount of freedom you have in Dreams, really. Look how quickly I was able to start sculpting ideas for this character standing here. And he's just in the scene, so when I play the animation, you see him standing there waiting for us. Alright, let's jump out of this one, don't save, and let's take a look at my winter scene here. This one I think works really well in VR, even though there's again some heavy optimization going on here, so the detail level is not as high as on a 2D screen, but still just the fact that you can look around here like this, look all around. It's really good. And again, at any point in time I'm able to jump into edit mode, make changes to my scene and see them happen instantaneously. Alright, and here we find ourselves in free roam mode, where we can move around in the scene. And let's jump into edit mode and let's make a snowman, because, you know, why not? This is streams after all. So I'm gonna start out by hiding the hover effects and the electronics and the lights and camera, so we are left in the actual scene here. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go in, and I think, let's take a look here. Let's take this plane here, and let's make a quick snowman here, like this. Let's make it a good one here. And actually this is gonna be inspired by Calvin and Hobbes, the amazing comic book by Bill Watterson. If you haven't read it, you should. Calvin used to make these crazy snowman scenery things with giant snowmen attacking smaller ones and eating them and stuff. And this is again, this is incredibly easy in Dreams VR to make stuff like this. Maybe it should even have like 2 heads or something here. You know, we could even run the animation in the background to have the sound and the effect moving. Look at this, and then we're gonna have, of course, some twigs as arms, because yeah, that's how you build a snowman. Again, this usually I would have to have surface snapping on for stuff like this, but now you're able to position your hand very, very precisely in space, which is so good for stuff like this. Trees and stuff is going to be so much easier to make now. Ah, no, don't eat me! And then for eyes, we're just going to add some small dots like this. And I can see I actually need to turn this one, so I'm going to separate the arms of the foreground snowman from the background snowman, so like this. And we're also gonna separate the snowman in the back. Alright. Oops. We actually want this to be a cutout, not a crop. Alright. So let's position it like this instead, so we have more direct interaction. Right. Just gonna copy the arms here. Oh, this is so much fun, guys. We're gonna have a snowman here running away. And maybe one being swallowed here. Or maybe he's holding a head in his hand or something. With the rest of this poor fella lying here. How lucky are we to get a tool like this on a gaming console without having to buy very expensive 3D software. Of course you have to invest in the headset and the console itself, but still, compared to other workflows, this is dirt cheap, really. Alright, let's jump out of this one, don't save. And we are gonna take a look at a few more scenes. The mountain walk here. And again, I should definitely take the time to go in and make these scenes so the player can move around in them themselves with a puppet. But for now it's just a very quick conversion of the old style Dreams scene to VR mode. But we can still jump between cameras. We have a few different ones to choose from here. Then we can cycle between various times of day. And again, as you move closer here, you can see the details of the scene. Another snowy landscape. And actually in the black and white version here we have a scary figure standing in the background. Anyways, let's take a look at this in create mode. Here we are in edit mode, and I'm able to very easily move around in the scene. I'm able to pick up any elements in the scene. I can reel them in, move them away, rotate, position, everything with great ease. And yeah, it's just really good. Then we have The Last of Us 2 tribute, and I'm just gonna jump straight into edit mode for this one. Oops. And in this one I actually added a few VR specific things, like look at what happens over by that window when I'm looking at the building Dreams detects my vision and then turns on the effect of the light flicker in the house in the background. And this is very, very easy to set up actually. So if we jump into create mode here, you see I've added this this gadget here called the head and camera tracker. And in here, basically what this does is as soon as you start the scene, this thing just wraps around or places itself around the head of the viewer. So everything that you attach to this box can be set to follow the movement of the player. So you can see here, if I were to add a pair of sunglasses, for instance, let's try it like this. If I add those in here, like this, you should then, if I make sure to pair them with the gadget, you should then see them. Actually, this is pretty nausea-inducing, but you see now the glasses kind of follow the head of the viewer. And this is really great for stuff like a interface, if you want to make a UI that follows the head of the viewer. So you would just jump into the group and you could go in and add like a text gadget or something here. Let's take a text displayer. We're just gonna add it here. Whoops. Like so. You write your text. UI. Done. You make sure that the in-scene function is ticked. And now we should be able to see the UI text in the corner like that. So this is a really smart way of implementing this this feature. And I'm gonna delete those again. Whoops. Go into the tracker, remove the subtitle, the text displayer, jump out, and then here you have a lot of different options. You also have the option of enabling a VR cursor, enable look cursor, and you need to enable that to trigger the effect of something happening when you look at something. And it's incredibly easy. I can demonstrate that for you, but let's show the look cursor so you can actually see the cursor while we are in play mode. Now you see we have the cursor there moving around. And I actually also made it so that when you move closer to the guitar, I found in the Dreamiverse, I found the theme of The Last of Us that starts playing. Pretty cool, huh? And as you look away, you can hear the volume decreasing. And then as you look at the guitar again, the music plays. Alright, but let me demonstrate very quickly how this works. So let's jump into create mode again. Let's rewind time. Alright guys, so let's demonstrate very quickly how the look detection works. It's very easy. Let's make two boxes here. Let's make one that is red, like that, and one that is blue. Like so. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna go into the gadgets, you're gonna go into the sensors and input, and you're gonna select the look cursor sensor, and then you're just gonna attach one to each of these cubes, and then it should already work now, so that when you look at the box you see an indication that you are looking at this. And then what you can do is you can actually trigger like anything that you could trigger normally in Dreams, so animations, sound, scene changes, everything. And say you wanted to add a pair of hands here, you can actually go into the Media Molecule Quick Start Collection, Contraptions. Here we are inside the box contraptions. You can select the hands. And what you're going to do is you're just going to place this somewhere here. And I think it's then actually automatically attaching to your hands. And I have very small hands here. I guess the scale of the scene is off a little bit. And actually, especially now with VR, it's good practice to make sure that you are going at a realistic scale. And what you can do is you can go into the camera and lighting, and you can select a ruler here and place it. And as you can see, the scene scale is definitely a little bit off here. But anyways, let's jump into create mode. Let's just jump into create mode. Let's make a new scene, and I'm now going to show you very quickly why Dreams VR is amazing for stuff like painting, for instance. So say I wanted to draw a box, for instance. It's a very simple item to draw. Now so this definitely takes a bit of practice to get right. Alright, so that's not bad, and this would be impossible to do with a 2D screen. You just would completely mess that up. And this just means that you are now actually able to sketch things like a character, for instance, and kind of get the proportions right and everything. And most importantly, it would just sit in the space, probably. As you can see here, we already have a good sense of depth in the character. That would be really difficult to get right in regular Dreams. So for stuff like this, VR is really great. It just feels more natural to, of course, to make 3D in a 3D space, which makes complete sense. This is very true for sculpting with the clay tools as well. It's a lot easier to do in 3D. You know, just stuff like this is a lot easier. It's really just like working with clay in real life. Just very super powered clay, I guess. Alright, so obviously not my best work, but you still get the picture, I guess. And again, I recommend that you if there's something you want to make, check out if somebody already made it in Dreams, and then you can just import that element into your scene, and you can check out how that was made. Couldn't be easier. Alright guys, but to wrap this up, Dreams in VR is absolutely incredibly amazing, and Media Molecule has done us all a great favor in producing such a tool as Dreams. Dreams was already an amazing tool before VR, and now with VR it's just mind-blowingly good, really. And you know, this is only the second day of Dreams VR being out in the wild, and I'm sure in the coming months we are gonna see some really amazing VR experiences made especially for Dreams VR. And I can't wait to see what all of you produce, and I am really also looking forward to, just on a personal level, to jump into Dreams and build worlds, create stories, and make characters. So thanks for following along on this video. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe to my channel for future Dreams updates, and I'll make sure to make tutorials about working in Dreams VR in the coming months. So see you guys soon. Bye bye.